He doesn't have any money and he thinks you should be honoured that he rode in your chariot. It's Robert Schwarzenegger. He can hear his talk, but he can't watch his talk. It's Steve Portenegger. And I sell pretzels down by the docks, and that's why they call me the guy with low business acumen, Gary Sweaty Joggers. And tonight, all the Arnies brings you Hercules in New York.
What is the name of that imitator? Who gave him permission to pretend to be Hercules? Excellent.
Allow me to break the ice.
Drop dead!
I don't do requests. I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
Dylan! You son of a bitch.
Crime laps with your 4 wins.
Enough talk!
Don't bullshit me. Bullshit. 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 Bullshit.
Bullshit!
Crush your enemies. See them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women.
That was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
I'm glad, and rightly so. I was given the titular role of actually Hercules as well, so that's fine. It's acceptable. You could be Prati.
Yeah.
Who does that make me then? I'm the woman on the plane.
Yeah. Who has to go down, like hands down, as genuinely. Like she was up there with like one of my favorite like side characters. Like there were quite a few, but like she was up there for only being in for 10 seconds. She was really like seminal work by her there. Like
Yeah, she did it pretty well. The scene would have made no sense without her.
Yeah, exactly.
Bubble and acting ability.
Like, is the Twilight Zone without William Shatner on the plane chatting about gremlins? Is it ever as good? It's not. Like it needed Shatner, and this film needed her.
That's what that film needed. It should have been William Shatner on the plane, seeing Schwarzenegger out the window.
Yeah.
that would have been good.
Tipping his hat.
Yeah.
Let's jump right in, lads. What did you think?
Man, right.
What did you guys think of this film as both a film in its own right and as a Schwarzenegger film?
Yeah, all right. I see. I enjoy a lot of the Schwarzenegger films. I really did struggle. I don't know if I'm just being a snob. I'm probably going into it like we straddle the line of like whether is it so bad it's good. Like that's always the line you kind of straddle with these films. Like, is it so bad it's good?
Yeah, I don't know if it really reaches that.
I don't think it does. I really don't think it does. I genuinely think with as many things that I enjoyed out of it, I would probably say pretty bad. I think it's all.
I would like to disagree.
I don't know. I was just being snobby because I was. Oh, fair enough. Yeah. No, I genuinely no. It's just bad.
I don't know how you guys felt.
Like, I think in terms of all.
I don't know how you guys felt like, but whenever we got to the bear scene on the date, I was going right. The rest of it was now a slog. This was an endurance test after that.
Yeah.
Even before the bear scene as well, because the bear scene comes completely out of nowhere, like every scene in this film. It just comes out of nothing. It's just like I struggled. I didn't know where I was at. I thought I was having a fever dream for the start. Like obviously we'll get into it when we break it down. I didn't know what was happening, but the bear scene was the peak. But I didn't know it was coming, and then I was hoping there would be more after, and there never was.
It
sucked pretty badly, I thought.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
As a film, it sucked. I enjoyed it, but I did, like you say, it was a bit of a slog. I think I had to watch it in three sittings. I think it took 3 sittings to get through this.
Oh yeah, yeah. Did you? I just started a rule halfway through that I had to put my phone down on the table because I just went straight to being like, nah, that'd be more interesting. I'm just gonna look through my phone. Anything that was about the Greek, like Shakespearean, like backstory, where there's just all those B actors who, most of the females who look like strippers, and like you just be plucked off the streets, go like, you just stand there and just say Zeus, great Zeus, and that bit. I was gone out of that. I was like, this is trash.
Where did they film that? Where did they film that? Olympus,
New York. I think it might be actually the director's house. I loved. There was a couple of things in it that made me love it. Like the very start of it. One of the things that made me love it was, do you think a lot of the times the director and the producer were going, nah, leave that in. That's fucking hilarious. And I'm thinking here, like the car horns behind Zeus.
Yeah.
I have decreed.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah. Meep meep. God, oh, leave that in. That's fucking brilliant. Everybody's going to love that.
Yeah.
It's all the centaurs on like the motorway behind Olympus. They're just like, trying to get like to their day-to-day lives and just going like, fuck up. Yeah. Why haven't they built this new like 2-lane motorway through Olympus yet? It's so difficult to get to the 7th circle of Hades.
The sound was generally pretty bad, though, wasn't it? Like the sound editing, there were bits where I don't know, they just, the bits where he'd moved away from the mic or whatever, and you could hear it. It really showed up. And I suppose probably the worst bit is the bit at the end where it's not when you hear him on the radio and it's not Arnie's voice.
Oh, that was fucking
the voiceover guy,
in the balls, wasn't it?
So does that mean that you guys watched the non-dubbed version?
Oh yeah, did you watch the dubbed version?
Yeah. See, I had the non-dubbed one.
I got the dubbed version. I didn't mean to, but I downloaded it from totally reputable and legal sources, and when I finally opened it up, it had the dub version on, which like my wife found so confusing, but it really did change the film because you talk about the sound quality. The dubbing was so bad; it was very much like. So this is the best way to describe it. Like Zeus would be there going like, "Oh, Zeus, sounding down the hell," and then suddenly be like, "Hello, I'm totally fine, and everything is fine. The sound is totally fine." And then it's like someone's chewing on nails, and then suddenly he's just like clearly in a studio, like no other background like sound whatsoever. It was really
very obviously. That doesn't. I think I've seen clips of that before. That's a shame. It's a shame you watched that one, Rob.
I know it is. I felt really
you miss all the little nuances of Arnie's performance.
There was one of the best bits about it though was clearly watching the voice actor trying to follow the facial expressions of Arnie, and he's trying to add like noises in to fit Arnie, and it doesn't make sense because he's not used to the noises. So the bit when he's watching, the gymnasium.
Yeah.
And he's watching an athlete, and he makes those like the ha like noise pretty all the time. I assume that's gold for Arnold, but like the voice actor doesn't know what to do, so it's really bad. He's just going like ha 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 ha, and it's like really off-putting.
I've seen clips of the dubbed version on YouTube, and I have to say I think the Arnold Schwarzenegger one's miles better. It's got to be. How can he say you have struck Hercules? You have struck Hercules.
You have struck Hercules.
It's that he speaks like best than everyone else because the rest of them all speak with like even like Zeus to an extent has like an accent, and he's like, the most like clean of them all. It's like the anti Arnie, like Bizarro Arnie.
I'm going to be honest. I think probably about 50% of Arnie's lines in this I did not get at all. I rewound the DVD and everything. I just listened to him a few times. I could not understand some of it at all. Maybe they should dub those bits and leave the rest in. Leave the gold in there.
Maybe they should dub everybody else with it. Like in the dubbed version, they should have Arnie as just a normal voice, and everyone else is doing an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression, and like every other actor is just doing Arnie, while Arnie is completely fine. Like Prati. He's going like, "What will I do? I am such a pipsqueak."
I was about to say, we'll leave that. There's something at the very end I want to talk about Prati. So we're at the start anyway. So at the start we're up in Olympus. We've got clouds, and then we'll start with what I think is quite a good line. Hang on, it kind of promised this to be written in a semi-decent way with a bit of ambition and a bit of what could I say, like showmanship or something like that. Maybe that's probably the wrong word. But to say something like in a land of myth and history comes mystery, and I went, that's fucking you're stretching.
Mystery equals mystery.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be well written, but that's not where mystery comes from. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I'm not sure that's correct, but it was good. I liked that line. There was another line I liked in it that I thought was quite smart actually. Was is it when he's picked up by the ship at the start? Yeah. And he's sort of being interrogated by the captain, and he says something to the captain, and the captain says, "Sir," as in, "You call me sir," and Arnie just says something like, that's okay. I'm democratic.
Oh yeah,
like the hat that like Greece is the birthplace of democracy. Someone got that line in there, you know, like.
Yeah. That was
smarter than the rest of the material, I thought, you know.
Yeah, there was loads of like little odd like lines stuffed in like that, and I get what you're saying about the start as well, whereas like the land of myth and history being ridiculous, but the start of this film genuinely should be the introduction to this podcast, where it's like in a land of distant past, like the first line, like suddenly we're going to go back through it was really good. Did you not think, like, guys, like genuinely, and I don't know if I'm just being a snob, like the start of the film was I really, like, just frantic. I didn't know what was happening, like, at all for the first, like, I would say 10 minutes. You could follow it. I didn't know what was happening. Like, it was going.
Well, I got
like,
a few of
crazy.
Yeah,
but I mean, like,
I could follow
it really
a
quick.
bit. But I could. There was something that was happening, and confirmed some of my biases. I like my biases to be really have scaffold put around them and casting concrete around me, and that was I hate. Fucking Zeus, he's a cunt.
Right.
I can't stand Zeus. Anytime I fucking hear of him, I hate him. And this film helped me a lot. I went, yeah, I'm totally right in hating this prick. And it kind of starts right from the start. Like
I want to go to Earth. I'm bored.
Yeah, the same old faces.
Yeah,
It's the same.
I've been here for
It's boring. You're
years.
back on. The director's back on. It's boring.
But Arnold's saying this. Or sorry, Hercules is saying this. I suppose you should try and say Hercules, shouldn't I? Hercules says
I think Arnold.
Hoik.
Hoik, where you at?
Hoik says it, and Zeus goes, "Don't fucking interrupt me." I said, "But you had a full stop at the end of your sentence. You'd finished. This is how conversations work, Zeus. You fucking baller. You've stopped. It's my turn to speak."
Yeah.
But there was some classic sass by Arnie in this film. I think it's the sassiest I've ever seen him. I can't imagine it being this sassy in the overdub. He says, "I will not." I will not.
Both him and Zeus were really complex at how shit they were.
I won't stay.
Yeah, I will not talk on this matter anymore. And he says, "Okay, so you agree you can go?" That's like you've got all this ahead of you, Rob. That's the way your children fucking say. No, you can't have that. I'm not talking about it anymore. So does that mean I'm going to get it? No, it doesn't. It means fuck off. And don't talk.
If my kids are
children, of course.
I would love my kids to leave the room like Arnold leaves. Sorry, I would love my kids to leave the room like Herc leaves the room, like the way he leaves the ship at the start, because it is all just sass. It's like, I'm getting out of here and fuck this particular bit of wooden box in particular, and he just pushes it over. No reason. It's like, that's the sass you need. So, as you're walking out, also to insult your dad and go, "I want to go to Earth," and he's like, "You can't go to Earth." "I want to go to Earth." "You can't go to Earth." "You are awful." "All right, I'll send you to Earth then." It's like, wait, what is it?
There's a little bit
as a punishment of an explosion.
Yeah.
There was a little bit at the start that I'd kind of
into giving him what he wanted.
There was a bit at the start where I kind of tuned out of what was going on, and that was whenever the titles were going over the top of it. Hercules is following Zeus around like non-stop, nagging, and I completely tuned out because the music was so fucking awful. But he just keeps following him round and round. Let me go, I will not stay here. And he goes, no. And then he finally cracks. And he says something like, he's been irritating me for hundreds of years. I can't even be irritated for an afternoon without cracking, so maybe Zeus isn't as bad as me, even.
Well, no.
Yeah.
That is true. He changes his mind. You are, there's a lot, you know, when you're saying, like, the source material is, like, that line was, like, as clever as, like, cleverer than the rest of the material. I think you're right in the sense that, yeah, I think Zeus is a really, in terms of just characters in general, Zeus, outside of this film, is a really shitty character in, like, Greek mythology. He does a lot of shitty things. I think they perfectly encapsulated it here, because he does change his mind every 5 seconds. And, like, and then he's just constantly just being a dick to people, and then just like being nice, and I don't know. I think you're right when he's just like after half an hour going like, "You've been irritating me for 100 years." Not about that particular thing though, Zeus. Like, just because you don't like him doesn't mean you get to just be like,
yeah.
He has been there for, like, as far as we can tell, 5 minutes, because that's how quickly it takes from Olympus to go like, "I want to go." "You can't go. Please go." And then it's like,
yeah.
Zeus is, I like how they mock all of his, like, little vacations as well. Like, what do you mean when you went down and pretended to be a swan and you know, committed sexually deviant acts on Greek women? Is that what you mean by a vacation? Is that what got past the censors?
Yeah, he's fucking horrible.
I know. What does he do? He throws that. It's like a piece of bent rebar Hercules, and it blows up or something. It's supposed to be a thunderbolt, isn't it? It's yeah. Like a road iron or something.
It's a road iron because they zoom in at one point. He picks it up and he's like, "Oh, Nemesis!" Right at the very end when he picks it up, Nemesis, I'm gonna get you, and he holds it close to his face on a close-up shot, and it is 100% just a road iron spray painted silver.
It's pretty bad. I wanted to play a game with you guys. This is a good time to bring it in, and it's a game called "Where Did the Budget Go?" And I think that Zeus's beard got more of the budget money than those thunderbolts did. Although I don't know how expensive road irons are, but
it probably cost more than the actor who played him.
Yeah.
I think if just for like, I'm playing this game seriously. I know you're making a joke, but I'm genuinely playing it. Like, I think if we have to go based on just how much of it there was, you'd have to assume it was sent straight to the music composer. Like, because they never stopped the music at all. They were like, "We're getting our money's worth. We paid so much for this."
Yeah.
That guy's
we paid $10 for this minute and a half worth of score.
That's furiously plucking that mandolin.
Fuck, I hated
the
the
music.
music. It's horrible.
It's so bad. I can't get it out of my head.
Yeah, I almost turned the sound off at one point. Just it's crazy. It's horrible.
Yeah, I wonder can we get
horrible music. It's like
I wonder can we get a version of it that's underdubbed with the mandolin take? That'd be so much. I could watch for another 5 minutes probably after the bear.
It's just all the background noises put back in, Central Park. And
meep, meep, meep.
Just like those New Yorkers going, hey, I'm walking here. I'm walking here.
Hey, bada bing, up your ass, hey. Olympus, fucking it's awful noisy around the top of Olympus, isn't it? Since the Italians moved into Olympus, it's just been a constant fucking nightmare.
Hey, yo, Zeus, you want yourself one of these hot dogs? I got sliders for you. I'll get you some. I'll get you some slicer, some good old pizza, just like Mama made. Why, you think you're better than me? You don't want my pizza?
How long have you been practicing your fucking Marky Mark impression? That's fucking awesome.
Oh, man. Every impression I do will either turn back into... Because obviously I spend so much time... I blame it solely on you when I meet people. Because I spend so much time with Irish people that I found hilarious. All my accents will either turn straight back into Christopher Walken, Arnold Schwarzenegger, or an Irishman. So just let the New Yorker go, and eventually I'll just keep going like... I'll go into really bad Irish.
Oh dear!
I can't wait to hear them all.
At once.
Even Arnie turns into Christopher Walken after a while if I try and do like a serious Arnie.
So Zeus is cracked up now and he's fucked Arnie off. He's just thrown this rebar at him, which is really just a road iron that's been passed into the craft department and dipped in glitter. And he's thrown it at him. He's been blasted and he's fallen. Now he's fallen. And the next scene we have is on a plane. What do you guys think of the plane?
Brilliant. Genuinely. I found shades of the Twilight Zone, like, the bit with William Shatner, and he's like, there's something on the plane. Something, and he's like staring out the window, like that scene where he's like, there's gremlins on the plane. It was very similar to that.
The set, wasn't it? It's pretty ropey, like, same set from the 60s or whatever.
Yeah, like probably done 5 minutes after that episode of the Twilight Zone. They were just like, how can we shove this in? It's just like everyone's queuing up to do the airplane scenes. It's fantastic and has one of my favourite side characters. I genuinely think the film, we've laughed a lot about it already after having said it's quite bad. I think the side characters make the film. I don't think the main characters, like if you take Zeus and Hercules out of the film, I think the side characters are the funnier ones, the more interesting characters. And the plane has got the best side character in it of all time.
She's your personal favourite then, the woman on the plane.
It's between her. I think Pluto's quite cool, but it's between her and genuinely Arnold, the bug-eyed Prati. I genuinely think Prati's quite funny.
Yeah,
he has his moments. I think one of my favourites is the guy in the bear costume, because he really took a beat.
He fucking did.
That scene. Arnie's punching out of him like
wait, don't! You're ruining the money shot. We're not there yet.
Oh, yeah. No, sorry, I'm leaping ahead.
We're not there yet.
Sorry.
But yeah, the woman completely caught me off guard with her with her black feather hat. She caught me completely off guard, and I have to say, like, I cracked up when she's just screaming about the handsome man outside the window.
And he was naked. It just reminded you ever watch The Big Bang Theory? This lady reminded me of Howard's mum, but her friend. What a cock!
There's a Greek man outside the window. Why can't you be as successful as him?
He's going places into the fucking sea. Yeah, he's I thought the whole scene was a little bit odd. When the pervy. I'm calling that woman a pervert. I don't know if you guys agree. She was getting fucking well into Arnie, floating by the window with no clothes on. Whenever the pervy...
Yeah, but I think that's just the early stages of... Sorry, man, go on.
No, carry on.
No, I just say that's the beginning of a long history of women perving on Arnie that they shoehorn into Arnie films.
Yeah, true.
She was the first one, the original Arnie perv.
Yeah, and I timed it as well. It took 10 minutes for him to put his shirt on in this film. So, like, this is where it started.
I was wondering about that. I was making a little list of all the times he's just got his shirt off for absolutely no reason.
I'm going to get to my favourite one when we get to it. I'm going to mention I've got it bookmarked, but
I've got a feeling I know what you're talking about. So. Yeah.
But, I've got a question.
Yeah, her acting was incredible. She definitely was like, "This is." Oh, go on.
My question is the pervy lady's friend. You know, the one who's not Howard's mum from The Big Bang Theory. The pervy lady's friend puts an oxygen mask on her mate, and she immediately passes out cold. Is that normal? Is that what oxygen does?
Yeah, that's not oxygen.
I think it's a stretch to call her a friend. She just, I think that woman's not her friend. Like, she's just sat there going like, "You're talking nuts. It's time to shut up now, Denise." Like, it's just. It's been a long flight from Greece. Can you just shut up for 5 seconds and just try to?
She tapped out really quick, like that. Like as soon as I've
already got a bit of this gas left.
Yeah. Oh, for fuck's sake, stewardess! She just immediately turned on her. Immediately. She's the kind of woman who, you know, say volunteer step forward. She's the kind of bastard that would take a step back. I don't like that lady one bit. Anyway, I've had my gripe.
No, it's fine. You are right. That's not how oxygen... Well, oxygen does work that way. I mean, if you had a lot of oxygen, you would feel loopy, I suppose. But
maybe she's turned it right up then, you know.
She's got a lot.
Stewardess, don't disturb my friend. She's dead tired.
Can you maybe it was just the 70s, I don't know, like, you know, in the 70s you could smoke on planes. Maybe they just put fucking lithium in the gas mask so that you're just happy as shit on the way down.
Yeah just have a panic attack or something.
She's up there though because of like the overact. If you have a panic attack, just go crazy. Just have you got any Valium? Yeah, take 12. I'm sure they're fine. They've not been tested.
Do you guys have anything else to say about the plane scene?
Not that I can remember. I think I pretty much erased a big part of the film. My brain right after I watched it.
This is the beginning of where I realised that the film was just going to be different collections of set pieces that they thought of with no connection. Where it went like, Olympus, plane, then ship, then different ship, then pier, then suddenly like, then fight forklift, then get in a taxi, like then park. Like, it's like there's nothing in between. It's just an absolute like.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like
it's like a video game, and they're just trying to get to each checkpoint.
This film doesn't seem like it took
it's
more
just
than
sort
20
of showcases
minutes,
one after another.
Yeah.
No, it didn't. But you know what? I think maybe the last half was planned. Like, he would become a wrestling guy. I think the start, they didn't know how to start it because they just had the guy dub over, go, Olympus is a mountain. Here is a mountain. And then like 10 minutes later, he's already been on a ship. He's been in a fight 6 times. He's in a park. Then within 10 minutes after that, he's going to fight the bear. They just went like the first half was really mental. Like, they didn't know what they were doing. And that's kind of partially the reason why I think, generally it's a bad film.
Have you ever been?
It's a bad
film. Have you ever been?
The whole point was just to show off muscles, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Show off Arnie's muscles. Like.
Oh, I'm gonna have a
great. That's the only selling point.
Yeah, get Arnie like out there. But which begs the question: I wasn't around in the 70s. Was like Mr. Universe such a new thing that it had to just be like he has a nice? I'm asking the adults.
I can tell you,
I have to ask somebody who was around in the 70s, mate.
Fair enough.
I was around in the 70s for 9 months, and I can assure you that all of that 9 months was spent talking about muscles and who's going to be Mr. Universe this year. It meant a lot to us at the time.
Fucker, I don't know. You're all older than me. You're adults. If anyone's over the age of 30, they're basically nearer dead than I am.
Yeah, but
so it's fine.
We're all recording an Arnold Schwarzenegger podcast, though, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do a lot of research. So the 70s, I assume, based on this knowledge of the 70s, everyone was ripped to shit. Is that pretty much it, yeah?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
My research. That's my research.
Right, so Hercules is falling through the sky now, and he's landed in the sea. But Zeus has stepped in after a much save Hercules. Won't you save Hercules? There was something about all these other actors. A lot of actors, particularly the ones who were playing the gods and everybody up in Olympus. I checked out as many of them as I could. These are all stage actors, which goes some way to explaining a lot of the acting in it, I think. It's very dramatic, isn't it?
Oh, wow.
It's really? Yeah, a lot of them are stage actors. A lot of them never worked in movies before. Some worked in TV.
You're telling me they're professional actors, these people?
I say...
Because that did not come through.
that I don't know.
I'm going to say I'm with Stephen on that. That is the biggest shock of the film. That is the biggest twist.
Right, we've got Arnie in the sea now.
Genuinely, and I said it.
Zeus has sent the boat, and he's been rescued. I like the boat scene. I think this is the finest acting in the entire film.
It's probably, I would agree with that. I think that's probably fair. I think the dialogue between him and the captain is probably the best. Yeah, we've already touched on it a little bit, but I think they spent a lot more time on that one scene for the 30 seconds that it happened than they did for for example, where my brain literally shut off, where he first meets Prati in the taxi and they just talk absolute nonsense for 5 minutes, and I'm just like, what is going on?
Well, Arnie brings a sass.
I know a guy called Apollo. He had a black ward. He had a black ward. No, he must have been in disguise. What is happening?
I think Prati might have been thinking about Mickey Mouse. But on this boat, Arnie starts bringing the sass, and he brings it in big time. So what are you doing in the water? Swimming.
Could it be considered the first one-liner? It's a funny response to a question asked directly by potentially an adversary. Is it his first one-liner?
Maybe,
it's the official term?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, it's nothing as good as his other ones, but could it be considered what are you doing in the sea?
Well, I'll try it out, and we'll see. But you really missed out, Rob, on having the overdub version, because Arnie just brings it here. His full acting capabilities from 1970. Full range. Swimming. There's no K on the end of that. But the first officer on the boat might be the only actor in the film who I think is convincing as a human being. He comes off with a line which I haven't heard before, but I'm going to use it every chance I get. His immersion in the water can put a man on his head. I'm going to try and say it a lot more. Oh, don't worry about him. That puts a man on his head.
He's on his head. Yeah, I'd never heard that before.
He's very sympathetic.
It is decent. Right? It's got shades of this. He definitely doesn't want. I don't know if maybe he's the only one that sees the threat of a 6'3" muscular-bound man who's clearly confused in the captain's area. Maybe he's the only one that actually sees the threat in it, because he does break up the fight as well. He's the only one who's like, why is anyone starting a fight with a 6'3"?
Right.
The next scene, and so maybe he's just sat there going I need to protect the captain because this man is talking about democracy and swimming. We're in the middle of the ocean, and he's built a brick house. This man terrifies me.
I like the way he protects the captain as well. He does it the same way I would do it, by sliding around the back of the captain and making sure the captain's between him and Arnie. This guy goes off. I want something bigger than me in front of me.
That's fair. I don't remember that scene too well. I should have watched that scene again. I mean, they obviously took more than one take of that scene. They put a lot of effort into it, didn't they?
He did, yeah. And he even turned back to the captain and gave him a look. And I mean, that can be justifiably seen to be acting, which would,
that would pass as acting. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, because he's not said something with words that he can say with his face. So
technically acting.
So maybe this guy's the best actor in the film. On a side, completely irrelevant note, do you think the guy who played Prati was annoyed that the film was made for Arnold and not him? Genuinely.
I think he probably went for the Hercules role.
I think maybe he was a stand-up comic or something. He thought this was going to be his big break. But
I feel everything he does. I genuinely think he's this guy's.
What else he's been in?
His name's Arthur Strang. Oh, there's an interesting thing about this, because they didn't want to use the name Arnold Schwarzenegger on the movie posters, so they called him Arnold Strang. So you got Arnold Strang.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Arnold Strang, who plays Prati, and the I looked through I looked through the credits at the end, and also in the cast, Arnold String, Arnold Strang, Arnold Strung. So they all exist. None of those guys exist. No, but your guy Arnold Strang, he does a lot of voice acting in cartoons up that point. This was like his. Here's somebody you've heard him before, but you don't know you've heard him before. Arnold Strang was the voice of Top Cat.
Yeah,
for real?
Really?
Yeah. Arnold Strang was the voice of Top Cat.
Top Cat's got a lot more suave than Arnold Strang does.
Yeah, definitely. But he's a very talented guy. Like, I believe that he had met Apollo, and Apollo did have a black dot in the end of his nose.
Oh, God. I would say the only reason I would think
I didn't believe it. I didn't believe that.
No, I didn't believe it. The only way he could be justifiably considered a good actor is that in Top Cat, I genuinely believe that belongs to the voice of a man who lives in a bin.
That seems fair to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's funny because in this film he looks a bit like a man who lives in a bin.
Yeah, exactly.
He looks like a man who needs to go up in the world before he can
Partly
live
was
in a
born
bin.
to play.
Well,
I've been leaning.
considering he doesn't have $2 for a taxi ride.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that.
Right.
We'll get to that. So
Okay.
Arnie's working.
Okay, so
Arnie's
then we
working.
I
get
feel
to
like being mean towards Bret Cena.
Arnie's working on
He's a
the.
good guy, really.
Yeah, he's good, guys. Stop picking on the wee guy. Come on, guys.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
So Arnie's been given some clothes. He seems genuinely happy to have been told that the boat's going to New York. And he seems delighted by that, and they give him some clothes.
Yeah.
And our next scene is Arnie fucking up.
Is that where he got all those horrible jumpers that he wears for the rest of the film?
Oh no,
Sorry.
I'm certain he's just fucking just dived into a sheep and just stood up, and that's the way it looked. Those are horrible jumpers. And I don't want to turn this into a Gok Wan kind of podcast or anything, but his clothes are awful in this. In fact, when he's wearing that denim shirt, that was the last time he looked
It's
good.
pretty disgusting.
Oh, that was decent. No, I was looking at that going like, shit, man. Like flares, tight car, like denim shirt, the jumper look. It's like Tommy Hilfiger circa 300 AD. Like it's really it's solid.
I wouldn't be
liked
surprised
it.
if that comes back.
It worked for him. That's the main thing.
The jumper was so good. Pretty went back to get it awkwardly after the fight. Like he had to go back. He's like, that's a sick jumper. I've got to go back for that.
So we're going to go back to your clothes, or
Yeah.
put it back on. Christ's sake.
There was a lot that I liked about this
But yeah, so then he just
fight with the crew. There's a lot of crazy camera angles here. I don't know if you guys picked up on that. Often we're standing inside that kind of that crescent shape between Arnie's tits. So in between his two arms, and the cameraman was in there. You got some crazy ones where there was
there was a lot of sort of angled from beneath shots, weren't there? Like looking at us as if they felt like that would make Arnie look even bigger.
there was only They did it once. They did it once for Preti. When Preti was having his moment, and he was looking. You're right, because he did it. They do it, make him look bigger. But then they did it once for Preti when he was like dealing with the whiskey as well. So it's like simultaneously showing Arnold to be this like tall figure, whilst making Preti seem this small and minuscule figure drinking whiskey. So I thought it was really. I don't know. There was only three camera shots this film. There was the one going from the crotch up to show off Arnie's tits. There was the stand-up.
Yeah, that was uncomfortable.
Yeah, and then there was the one where, like, at the end, they're looking at Zeus, and then the camera pans for about half a meter, and that's the only time the camera moves in set.
Is that when they're trying to make Zeus look like he's falling in the sky, like...
Oh, no. That...
Spoilers. Sorry,
spoilers. Shit, yeah.
Jumping ahead.
Don't let them in on the extended universe. After credit scene.
One of those cool camera shots. I'm about to blow after the Arnold Strang bit being Top Cat. I'm about to blow your mind again, guys. You ready for this one? One of those cool camera shots. Don't know if you can remember Arnie's fist shaking towards a really fat guy. Can you remember that on the boat?
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, that just seemed very, very odd.
That was the first acting role of John Candy.
What?
Yeah, that's John Candy.
So you lost.
What, he was the fist?
No, John Candy was the fat guy that they were waving the fist at. The fist was all Arnie. Right. Like, that's John Candy. His first film.
I completely missed that.
For real?
Yeah, I didn't recognise him at all.
I was too busy looking at the fist.
Anyway, now we get into the star of the show, the real star. Like you said, this could have been his vehicle. Prati shows up now after a fight, which I've started writing down the dialogue and then stopped and just put "see above," and it's just "look out for the water, look out for the water. Oh, we're getting near the water. Get away from the water. He's pushing us in the water. Get away from the water." And then he just throws them all in the fucking water. This has got to be one of the worst. There's a few moments in
the fight scene. Yeah.
There's a few.
But the rest of it,
it's bad. Yeah. There's that fellow who just gets tapped with the bit of wood,
and then he
feels like he has to jump into the water.
There's a bit at the very start of the fight scene as well. There's a bit right at the start of the fight scene as well where he's like, "Hey, you guys! The entire crew of my ship can't fight this one guy, but maybe you 4 guys. I'll give you $20 if you fight him." And then of those 4 guys, one of them comes up and it's a fat guy with a mustache and he's got a flat cap and he just runs over to Arnie when he's got the wood and just starts waving his flat cap at him. And I'm like, this guy is the definition of like the guy who's like, yeah, I'll help the team, and then just stays at the back and waits for it to get done. It's like, I'm going to make $20 out of this. I'm just going to wave my flat cap.
I see you played Cappy Woody before.
But this will show this weird Greek man, and I'll just wave my cap at him.
There was another question.
They're scared of tweed caps. Have this.
Nobody likes plaid. One of the questions I wanted to ask you guys is this: how big a person would you fight for $20?
Not him.
No,
like,
that kind of put me off.
Prati, I'd fight Prati for $20.
Oh yeah. I'd
probably not Arnie.
I saw him on the street now. Like I would do it for no money.
Arnold Strang,
you stole an hour and a half of my life. This is another thing. This is a definite trope of this film. Of like, we've already touched on some of them. It's the dialogue makes you want to hurt yourself. They will always find a reason for him to take his shirt off, and people will start a fight with a man like 6 times their size for little to no reason. And I've heard a lot about New York, but it takes the biscuit when you literally come off the boat and a guy goes, "Hey, beat that guy up," and they're like, "Sure, I guess." Like, we're just stood next to this burning trash can. We'll just start a fight. It's a really dystopian view of New York that they've made.
But
it's not a good view.
Arnie seemed to genuinely love doing this. He seemed to love this fight. He looks like he's trying to contain himself.
Oh, that smile.
Yeah. So happy. Think. He just hit somebody in the teeth.
He's got a look on his face like everyone's expecting a piece of stunt wood, but he's using real wood or something to smash over their head.
You know, when they smash that bench across his...
You don't know, it's that this is actually going to hurt.
You think this is a real bench? It is. Boom. There was another thing I loved watching this because I went far too deep into this. Could this be the worst
The
fight
first guy
ever?
missed the water. The first guy missed it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I genuinely think the first fight on the boat was worse because it was just men running at him and him throwing them away. Like he just grabbed them both hands and went over there, and then this one goes in. He's like over there now.
Get your keister down below. Get
I
yours.
this one. I preferred this one to that one. Genuinely, I thought at least they got some prop humor in, like the wood and stuff. And
yeah, well,
changing scenery.
I like the
maybe
last
the first one was just a warm up.
Yeah.
Up or something.
But this one didn't have John Candy.
Also, I mean, and the move on from this scene as well. Yeah, well, that's true. Or cap waving as a lead on from the scene as well. In his great escape, when Prati goes back to pick up the jumper, he's like, "This is good stuff. This is cashmere. We gotta get this." And he's like, as they're running away, and he just fights a forklift truck for no reason. Like, absolute dick move, no reason.
He just grabs it for no reason.
So like,
flying chariots, but where's the horses?
It is an absolute dick.
Is it that? And then he just grabs it.
But I have a question. How long's that guy been?
Where's your horses?
How long has that guy been driving a forklift truck? See you pumping both pedals. So that's the accelerator and the brake. Got to get away from this guy. It's stomping the brake for a while. Nah, it didn't work. Try the accelerator. But it is a complete dick move. You're absolutely right. If that had happened to you,
it's like 100% like
If that had happened to you, if you were driving your forklift truck and Arnie came around, grabbed it, and you couldn't go further, what would have been your next move?
I would probably have jumped off it and sprinted away.
Rob?
I would have turned angrily at the man who's clearly holding onto the forklift shaft and shouted at him. Is that not everyone's response?
My response would be T-brake. There's a guy holding my truck, and I can't do anything. Health and safety reasons.
Do you know what this is? This guy is just so subdued by capitalism. He's like, it's not even my forklift. I'm getting paid minimum wage. I need to make sure that the job goes smoothly, but you're doing the right thing there. You're like, don't even care. It's not even my forklift.
He might have been trying to burn out the engine in the forklift. Yeah, fuck this. If I break this forklift, then that's a day with the feet up.
Yeah, I get to go home or something.
So, like, that whole bit, anyway, so, like, with the forklift and, like, that fight scene with the wood and the forklift, I genuinely think is a decent, like, action-y scene. Like, it's a decent movement, but leads on to the worst part of the film, which is the taxi talk. And I genuinely am serious that talk.
Oh, my God, yeah.
It
was nonsense, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I feel like
it made any bloody sense.
I feel like they decided they were going to try and. They can't have done because he can't speak English, but it must have been like, we'll just improv some taxi dialogue, but they can't have done it like that because he didn't understand English, so he was learning it like verbatim. So that can't be right, which means it's not improv. Someone wrote it. They wrote that.
What if they just said Arnie?
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Because if you watch the dub version, then you probably have a better idea of what the actual lines were. Because I made a couple of notes and. It's just meaningless. It's just a load of random words. I couldn't understand anything that he was saying.
So at one point he talks about Apollo's disguise, and he actually gets really in depth about. I don't know if you caught any of this on your undub. He goes really in depth on like Greek mythology. In some shockingly well written and researched stuff. He's like, "Oh, my friend," I used to know a Greek guy. Oh, he is my friend too. And he's like, "Oh, really?" And he's like. He was always talking about trying to get a wife, and then he goes like, "Oh, his wives are," and he lists the 3 wives that I assume Apollo actually had in mythology. Okay. And so that's probably why it didn't make sense, because he's obviously saying things like Mira, Xiphophilus, and whatever else, which in an Arnie accent is just gibberish.
I'm sorry to be a snob, Rob, but you're mispronouncing those. Their names are. That's what I heard anyway, and I'm pretty sure I've got that right.
Sorry, but yeah, and then again, just sorry to move on again, but like from that taxi scene, I zoned out completely, and then they get out and they have another meaningless conversation, admittedly with a few jokes in. And then the guy comes out and decides to start a fight with them again.
They're all up for
it. Yeah. Arnie pushes this car over, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I watched that. I was wondering, is Arnold actually pushing that car over?
Good question. I would love to know that. I would absolutely love to know that.
The back of the car was out of shot. Maybe that's why he wanted the forklift. That's why he needed the forklift for that scene to tip the car over. And now I think, it makes sense now.
We have a winner for where did the budget go? We have a winner. It went into
the forklift and the driver for the day.
It went into a forklift, and they're like, we need to get our buddies with. Get him on the fucking scene. That's fine.
That would have been a better scene. You see Arnie push the car over, the taxi over, and then hand right, and then he just pushes the forklift over as well for the hell of it. Like,
which is in the park for no reason. It's just other than it had to be there.
To tip the car over.
Yeah.
I have an answer for you, Steve. I have an answer for your question, Steve. What do you guys think? Do you think that Arnold Schwarzenegger could have tipped that car over?
I reckon he could have.
You reckon?
Yeah. Well, maybe. Yeah.
It's mostly like show off muscle, isn't it? But I still think I reckon you could do it to give him enough time.
He can lift a bit. That car was a 1963 Ford 300. It has a curb weight of 3,719 pounds. Arnold Schwarzenegger can deadlift 710 pounds. He could have maybe lifted it without the engine in it. Wow, you guys seem really unimpressed by that.
Interesting.
Have I ruined your?
Well, I was hoping.
Impressed you looked all that up.
I was hoping for more of an answer. What you gave me was a maths question for a GCSE paper.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me help you out.
I'm still trying to calculate.
Yeah.
710 pounds is less than 3,719 pounds.
He definitely lifted 1,000 pounds later on in the film, so clearly.
No, he didn't.
That was something I was wondering about. Well,
we're ruining spoilers here now.
Yeah. Monstro did, didn't he?
Ah, but Monstro's fucking awesome.
Sorry, we're jumping again.
Well, I have something to say about the Taxi Driver. If you guys don't mind joining in, see what you think of this. The guy's called Oliver Clark. He was in Arnie Saves Christmas as well, and I think he has the voice of a man who is perpetually about to sneeze. Would you agree with that? I think he's the hardest person to understand in the film.
Oh my god, that's a
Even
bold
harder
claim.
than Arnie.
Even harder than
Right.
oh, those three waves, yeah, those three. Hey, some kind of damping, huh? Just go fucking hell, just sneeze. Just get it over with.
At least the conversations they have with him, all three of them being completely indecipherable. Like the Three Musketeers have the shy accents of like Brooklyn, sneezing, and like Austrian. But they had the best like comedy dialogue in the film with that like books and no, and it's like, what is the zoological discussion? It's like, that's genuinely funny.
Yeah, I quite like that. You have been immortalized. I've been who? I just can't. You heard it. You've been immortalized.
It's genuinely quite funny. Yeah.
Hercules rode in your chariots. Is that not enough?
Bucks,
No, I need
why is
bucks
this
to
man?
know, yeah.
I think
Why is this man obsessed with deer?
I can see why the Taxi Driver actually flips out here and has a fight, because I calculated that New York Harbor to Central Park is 37 miles, and that's got 2 toll bridges on it. And if he's only charging $2 for that, he can't really afford to be letting fares run away. So he's got to chase those guys down and beat $2 out of them somehow or other. Like,
Yeah, that seems fair. Why didn't Prati have any money on him though?
Yeah, well,
He didn't just drop out the sky, did he? Like he was selling food down at the docks,
which he left in
whatever.
the taxi as well.
Yeah.
Well, like he just left it there, despite the fact that they could have just, after you made friends with a giant hulking god and he's just pushed over a car, you could have just been like, I'll just take his money as well. I might as well. I'm here. Like he just left it all. Yeah, so he's got no money, but I think the idea is supposed to be like, I think when they wrote it, they were like, he's going to be some kind of like alley rat kind of character, because like even at the end when he's like looking through these binoculars and he's like, a dime, I'm not going to give him a dime. It's like, have you got any money?
Yeah.
What is the name of that imitator? Who gave him permission to pretend to be Hercules? Excellent.
Allow me to break the ice.
Drop dead!
I don't do requests. I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
Dylan! You son of a bitch!
Crime laps with your 4 wins.
Enough talk.
Don't bullshit me. Bullshit. 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 Bullshit.
Bullshit!
Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women.